What's going on, guys? I'm here today to preview the Week 3 matchup between the San Francisco 49ers and the Minnesota Vikings in the 2012 NFL season. And now this is a battle of a 2-0 San Francisco team that has looked very strong so far. They are a lot of people's Super Bowl picks, and I think they're going to have a good chance of winning the NFC and representing that conference in the Super Bowl. Whereas the Minnesota Vikings are still in rebuilding mode, and they haven't had a great season so far. They did struggle down the stretch against Jacksonville, but pulled it out in the end thanks to Christian Ponder and Blair Walsh. And then last week they could not pull it off as their defense let Andrew Luck drive down the field, and Adam Vinatieri kicked a game-winning 52 or 53-yard field goal. And so the Vikings are 1-1, but are playing at home, a building where they play much better than on the road. But San Francisco is still very strong. Their defense is one of the best in football, if not the best. I have them in fantasy football, by the way. And they are playing against a Vikings offense that has been highly dependent on their big-name players, Percy Harvin and Adrian Peterson. So I know that the 49ers are going to be focused on stopping those players, and they have the run defense to stop Adrian Peterson, who is not 100%. But hopefully, for me being a Minnesota Vikings fan, that they can do enough on offense or in the running game to help that offense remain balanced, because I know they're going to send a lot of pressure at Christian Ponder on passing downs, and so if this offense is one-dimensional, it's not going to be very good for Minnesota and the young quarterback Christian Ponder, who has not thrown an interception yet this year, but this could be the week he throws his first of the season, and he's been the NFL's leader in completion percentage with a 76% completion rating, but most of his passes have been like screen passes to Percy Harvin, and a lot of very high percentage throws that have been very contested, and they've just been very short. And when he has tried to stretch the field, it hasn't always been pretty. A lot of his deep passes aren't very good, and he doesn't have he has too much hang time on him. I think he throws them with too much loft, and that allows the defensive backs to get underneath him and almost make interceptions, but luckily they have not this year yet. But I'm not really confident in the Vikings offense this game against the San Francisco defense. They don't have a vertical threat yet because Jerome Simpson is still suspended until week 4 against the Lions. And so I expect the 49ers to really game plan around Percy Harvin and Adrian Peterson. They're going to stack the box and likely do some things so that Percy Harvin can't get a lot of yards after the catch like he's been getting in the first 2 weeks of the season. But the Vikings, they are at home. They play better at home than they usually do on the road. And if I've noticed something about the Vikings ever since I've been a fan, it's that they play to the level of competition in the majority of their games. Against a lot of good teams, they'll play very well. And then against a bad team in their next week, they'll play poorly and lose. I mean, so you never know what Vikings team you're going to get. But I don't think we're going to see a great Vikings team this week. If this offense is successful, Christian Ponder needs to have one of the best games that he's had in his career against this San Francisco defense that is just so good. Kyle Rudolph needs to be a big part of the passing game if they're going to open things up in the middle of the field, because that's where Percy Harvin's going to excel. And Kyle Rudolph's a great tight end. I think he's going to be a Pro Bowl tight end one day, and hopefully this season if he can start getting it going. He's had a pretty good start, but not a very fast start. So I want to see a lot more of the twin tight end offense succeed, because we haven't seen John Carlson play much. He didn't play in week 1, and I believe he played 18 snaps in week 2 and did not get targeted the football. So hopefully the Vikings can play more of the offense they were hoping to play a lot this season. I knew they would be off to a slow start, but with John Carlson being hurt, it's definitely hurt their development, I think. And getting Jerome Simpson back next week is going to be very helpful, I hope, at least, for this Vikings vertical passing game that's been largely non-existent since Sidney Rice left town. And for the Vikings defense, they haven't played as well as I thought they would. I thought they had a very much improved secondary, especially compared to last year. And Jared Allen hasn't done much this season. He's playing against Joe Staley, left tackle, this week. So I want to see him get his first sack, though. I think he's going to be angry out there, but hopefully that anger turns into production and not Jared Allen turning into an unhappy player. Whereas Brian Robinson's played well, Kevin Williams played pretty well, and LaTroy Guion has not played all that well, I'd have to say. Then linebackers for Minnesota, Aaron Henderson, Chad Greenway, they've played very good this season against the run. They're going to be needed to stop Frank Gore in this power running offense so they can make Alex Smith at least throw the ball to beat them this week, which against the Vikings secondary is probably very possible considering they don't make very many plays on the football. They don't make interceptions. They've had like 2 in the last 13 games, none this season, and hopefully this week they get one, but the 49ers do a great job of taking care of the football on offense. Alex Smith just does not throw interceptions anymore. And also, this is Randy Moss's return to the Metrodome in his first game as a member of a team other than the Minnesota Vikings in that building. I want to see how many snaps he gets, and if he gets a touchdown, I won't be that angry because I've been a big Randy Moss fan for a long time. But I like Randy Moss. I want to see him succeed, but hopefully the Vikings can keep him in check this week. But definitely one guy to watch this week. I expect to be the 49ers' most productive player on offense against the Vikings is going to be tight end Vernon Davis. Jasper Brinkley cannot cover him. Nobody on this Vikings defense can cover Vernon Davis. They don't match up well physically, and if they put linebackers on Vernon Davis, I expect him to have a big day, like 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. But the Vikings defense did keep Kobe Fleener last week in check, whom I thought would be the target or the recipient of a lot of targets from Andrew Luck, but it wasn't so much. So maybe the Vikings are doing a little bit better against tight ends than I thought. But in recent seasons, tight ends have torn up the Vikings defense, especially in the middle of the field, which is always wide open due to this Tampa 2 defense that I'm not a big fan of and haven't been ever since they got it here in Minnesota. And so I'm expecting the San Francisco 49ers to have a very productive day on offense. If they can get the running game going, they're going to definitely be in control of this game and will control a lot of the clock, whereas the Vikings, they need to be good on third down. Christian Ponder needs to be very efficient against a good defense. He will be pressured. He will be sacked quite a few times, I assume. But I think the Vikings' best chance at winning this week is if San Francisco takes them lightly and the Vikings catch them napping, because the Vikings, they have good players. I mean, they're a rebuilding team, definitely, without a doubt, but they do have some good players, and if they can catch the 49ers napping, they may have a chance, but I am not banking on that. I am taking San Francisco in this matchup by a score of 27-16. And if I'm Minnesota, I stack the box, I try to stop Frank Gore as much as I can, and if Alex Smith beats it through the air, well, then he beats it through the air, because you're going to get beat one way or another probably against this 49ers offense. Try to stop Frank Gore, try to stop Vernon Davis, and that is your best chance for the Minnesota Vikings defense. And on offense, just try to get some big plays and open up this defense and remain balanced, I think is the key for the Vikings. But I'm taking the Niners in this one, so either way, I'm going to be happy this week, because either way, I'm going to get a pick right or I'm going to have the Vikings win. So I hope the Vikings win, but I'm not banking on it. I would not put money on it. 27-16 49ers. So guys, leave your thoughts in the comment section what you think about this matchup. I'm sure everybody's going to be picking the 49ers. It's pretty unanimous so far. But we'll see if the Minnesota Vikings can be a surprise this week, if they can pull it off somehow. I would love to see it happen. But anyways, guys, the video is coming to an end. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys later. Have a great day.